All right, welcome back, Prospect Live viewers, to another 2020 MLB Draft team preview. Joining me today is Joe Doyle from our site. We're going to be breaking down everybody's favorite dumpster fire, that is the New York Mets. Sorry, Mets fans. Joe, but you know what has not been a dumpster fire has been their picks early in the draft the last few years. We know about them going heavy into the prep market, particularly the last couple of years. With Brett Batty last year, matched that up with Joe Wolf as well as Matthew Allen, Jared Kelenic the year before. Sorry about that. Joe's smiling. I can see him right now, as well as Simeon Woods Richardson. So another really talented player that they traded away. Brent Alderson is going to be in charge of the draft for the first time this year. He had been their assistant scouting director. Previous to that, they also promoted another internal hire, Jeff LeBeau, to take over Alderson's previous position. So he has some history with this draft and with this organization. What direction do you expect, Joe, Alderson to take in his first year in the helm in terms of, making the actual final picks?
Well, the Mets are certainly in that position where they're not rebuilding. They're kind of running out of time with this stable of starting pitchers that they've got. So I would think that they want to possibly go with the most advanced player they could get. But that it seems to stray too far away from what the Mets have always done. I mean, another guy you didn't mention was 2017. You got Mark Vientos. He's another prep third baseman, big bat. So it seems to be the type of route that this front office, this scouting department likes to go in. And I just think there's too much talent in the 2020 draft in the prep ranks that's going to be right around that spot that fits for the New York Mets. The name that I think that really sticks out is Pete Crow Armstrong. He's an up the middle athlete. He is probably the most polished defensive outfielder in this draft. And a lot of people think with that frame, with that swing, he's going to be able to tap into a little bit more at the plate. He would probably be, and he's, he just kind of fits what they've always gone after. So I think he would be the name that really sticks out the most for me. But there's a number of other preps that surely would entice the Mets at pick number 19, I think.
Are there any other names that you want to throw out there besides Pete Crow Armstrong? Obviously, he's a guy that there's some questions if he might be available there for them at 19. There's a handful of teams that have been in on Armstrong leading up to that pick by the Mets. Anybody else you'd throw out there?
I think a really fun one would be Nick Bitsko. He's another name that I don't know if he's going to be able to get there either, but Nick Bitsko has that big arm. He's a pretty polished for his age. I think he'd be really fun to throw into that stable of arms coming up through the system for New York. But beyond that, they could go with a number of guys. You've got Ed Howard, who's still going to be on the board, and they don't really have they have Andres Jimenez, but they don't have anyone in the low ranks that maybe would hold up against Ed Howard. And so those would be the names that I would look at. I think you can cross Jordan Walker off with the Brett Beatty and the Mark Vientos and guys like that. So I would look up the middle. Those would be my assumptions for New York.
As soon as you said Bits go to the Mets, I think Dr. James Andrews' cell phone actually rang directly onto his hip. I kind of hope that's not the case, but that's an interesting choice. I actually would love to see Bitsko potentially end up in that area. We'll see. We'll see if the Mets have the money in order to pay Bitsko what he wants in order to sign there. He's a guy that has quite a bit of leverage, especially for a prep player in this draft. Wrap it up here real quick. Who would the pick be for you? Would it be Bitsko, or is there another guy that you maybe target there outside of Howard, Bitsko, and Pete Crow Armstrong, like you mentioned?
Yeah, I think Bitsko would be my perfect marriage there. They've got a decent little stable of position prospects that are coming up through the rankings, and all those guys that we just mentioned. But they've now moved Justin Dunn, and they've moved Simeon Woods Richardson, and they don't have as many high upside arms that that some of the other organizations do. So I think that's an area of need. And if Bitsko's on the board at 19, he's going to be, if not the premier talent left, certainly one of the top 2 or 3.
And they have a lot of injuries in that rotation as well. And kind of a team that's sort of like in the middle tier, they're kind of defined mediocrity. In a short season, they could get hot, but they kind of lack enough healthy arms in their stable. It might be interesting to see him even go with a college guy like Cole Wilcox, Clayton Beeter, some of these other names that they might be able to sort of streamline into the major league bullpen just to throw one more out there. But that's an interesting choice. I'd actually like to see Bitsko go there, like I said. So thanks, Joe, for joining us today. We'll be back with another 2020 MLB Draft team preview.